Hello and welcome back to Altcoin Buzz. It's me, Jimbo. In today's video, we're going to be glancing our eyes over Bitcoin, and I think there's a pattern that could potentially play out on the one-day chart, which could be extremely bullish for Bitcoin over the next couple of weeks and months. We're also, of course, going to take a look at the inverse and see just what might happen if that isn't to play out. And we're going to glance our eyes over a couple of the altcoin charts, which have been really bullish over the last couple of days and weeks, and see if we can identify some opportunities in the market. Guys, if you want a chance to win a CryptoTag Zeus starter kit, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Please slap a like and comment on this video for a chance to win. Let's dive on into Bitcoin. Here's the Bitcoin daily chart, and I know what you're thinking. Jimbo, look at those red candles. Where is the bullish signals here? Well, let me see if I can try and help you identify some. One good thing to do when we have days like this is to zoom out and get a bigger picture perspective. And in doing that and trying to calm myself with the recent price drops that we've seen, I think I've seen a correlation between two potential chart patterns which could lead to a break up to 16 or 17,000 US dollars. Could. Let me show you how. So here we've got these two red lines. This is our tightening range that we've got forming. This is a long-term pattern. This is from a peak back in December 2019. And you can see we've got this long-acting support during this period as well. So that's just to give us an indication of what our range looks like at the moment. Now, within this pattern, we obviously see other little patterns play out. You know, we saw this descending triangle play out here back in 2018, which signaled us onto this big drop. And again, we had an ascending triangle down here in the 3K range, which signaled us the beginning of this great big push back up. Now, what am I spotting in the charts to suggest what could happen in the next big move? Well, you've probably seen some people talk about this chart formation over the last week or so, but let's have a look at how these two correspond. Now, this is potentially a head and shoulders pattern playing out on the one-day Bitcoin daily chart. And we've got our left shoulder there, we've got our head here, which comes back up to our neckline, and we are currently potentially forming our right shoulder. Now, I've put this line down here at 7,300, and I'm going to clip our right shoulder there. Now, that is the support area that we found with our left shoulder. So let's assume that it's a support area that we find for our right shoulder and join us back up at the top of the neckline. And you're going to start to see why these patterns are so important, if this was to play out, why they're so closely correlated. Look, if we were to break this neckline of this head and shoulders, potential head and shoulders, if we were to come up and break this neckline, not only would we be breaking the neckline of the head and shoulders, which has potentially been playing out since September 2019, but we would also very likely break the long-term resistance line that's been formed ever since our previous high, our all-time high in December 2017. That, for me, would be extremely bullish. A break above this line would be massive, and it's really interesting to see that this other massive potential reversal pattern is playing out within this, because if this hasn't been invalidated yet, there's nothing to say that this could not play out just yet. We need to see support. We can't see this right hand shoulder drop anywhere below the headline. If we break this low support of 6,500, that's pretty much invalidated. I actually think if we were to go back down and test 6,500, it would be invalidating the head and shoulder theory. So really what we want to see is this upper support line here at 7,300, where we got support on our left shoulder. Let's see if we get a bounce here. We're seeing some wicks, some wicks forming on these sale candles, suggesting that we might be losing a little bit of momentum, but I prefer not to trade or be lean one way bullish or bearish until I see validation, and we haven't got validation yet. But a nice big bounce off this support line here at 7,300 with some green volume and some real nice volume breakout on this down here at the bottom in our volume area. That's going to be a good validation for me. I still probably wouldn't look to trade it until we broke the neckline of the head and shoulders, which is at around 10,000, and that would line up again. Let's look for this zone. We look for the breakout of the neckline at this 10,000. area corresponding with this long-term resistance line, that is going to be a seriously bullish signal. Just to flip it on its head and go inverse, I've put this support line in, which has been acting ever since we set our low back there in February 2019. It's got another touch here in December 2019 where we dropped down to the 6,500 mark. So we've just formed a basic support line there. We've got a couple of touches off it. That's enough. I really don't want to see this line break. I certainly would not want to see 6,500, because then our next support that we should really be paying attention to. There are a couple of horizontal supports which could act, but the significant target would be the red line here, which is the longer term pattern. But I don't personally think that that's going to happen because of mining costs, etc., etc. The halving approaching. I think it would be dramatic to see us drop down to this levels. But it's always you gotta go into these positions knowing all your potential outcomes. So let's hope to see this big bounce, and well, let's hope to see it, because that would be a fantastic break for Bitcoin. I know that we're a cryptocurrency channel, but I think everyone's interested in what's going on in the equities markets as well at the right now. We're paying huge attention to this massive drop-off in our markets. Right now, I've got the Dow Jones average index open, and I was just reviewing it for my own personal interest, because I've been paying particular attention to this support line that we've got quite a few touches on the 1 hour chart. You can see it was a high volume area here, touch. We bounced a bit higher, but it was there. Once we broke through it down here, you can see there was actually a candle which bounced just above, but then when we came down, we broke down with serious momentum, and breaking back up above this line was really bullish. We haven't retested this area since back then in January 2019, so we are back here on this line after last year's ridiculous run up in the Dow Jones and the equities markets. But look where we're at. We are really close to testing this line. I think we've got to keep an eye on this. This is the 1 hour chart. It's obviously closed for play now. Is it closed for play? Yeah, it's closed for play half an hour ago. So tomorrow's opening is going to be really important for the equities. Certainly here on the Dow Jones Average Index, you can see that we're at a bit of a decision moment for the Dow Jones Index. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Let you guys comment below and let me know, what do you think we're going to see happen here? Are we going to see the equities markets bounce and recover from what's clearly a significant support for the Dow Jones here, or are we about to see the ever-present threat of the black swan event? If we were to break this line, just for the sakes of technical analysis, if we were to break this line, of course, we can put this other support line in down here, where we dropped off last time we broke it, down at 21,600 area. Let's hope that it doesn't even drop that low, because although, of course, we're more interested in the cryptocurrency markets, this does have an overall bearing on investor confidence, and that does have a knock-on effect on Bitcoin. I know that we've been talking, you see people talking about how we've seen for the first time that possibly it's a little bit more correlated to the stock markets than people may have previously been aware of, but that's just down to investor confidence. It's pretty fair to see that those confidence levels in the markets, they can have the same implications across all different ones. If market confidence is super low, then look, we're seeing the effects of that. All things bleeding a little bit. But fundamentally, nothing's changed for Bitcoin in the long run. If you're here for the long run, remember that these daily price movements are probably just something of minor interest rather than a main focus for you. If you're day trading, then obviously these drops are more significant. But fundamentally, if you're here for the long run, in my opinion, don't panic. Let's just wait and see when the market confidence returns for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market. Speaking of which, we are seeing some altcoins still moving quite bullish in the market, and I want to pay attention now first of all to Kyber Network, which you can see has potentially had a quick breakout of this ascending triangle pattern that we've got highlighted with the white lines. Now I think this could be a classic springboard retest. I'm waiting to see some validation on that. We've still got a little while before this 4 hour candle closes. Of course, if we see it close back above this resistance line, then I think potentially pump mode engaged. But there is still the chance that this could break down back into this triangle. And I might not be completely surprised to see that if we were to test the 50 exponential moving average again, or this uptrending support line. As long as we didn't break those lines, then this pattern can still be validated. But yeah, I think Kyber Network's definitely a chart worth paying some attention to. We know that these ascending triangles can have lovely bullish results. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor, nor am I giving you financial advice. I'm just a guy on YouTube looking at charts and giving you my own opinion. Yeah, so anyway, here's Coty Bitcoin 4-hour chart. Now, why am I signaling to this chart right now? Okay, so first of all, we've had a huge run up since this thing's been listed on Binance. Congratulations to those who've been holding throughout. It's been a bit of a wild ride, but been profitable for many, I'm sure. We've currently dropped back down from these highs of 450 back down to 345 as we are at the moment. The reason I wanted to bring this to your attention is because I think there's again potentially something brewing here. When might be worth start paying further attention to this chart? Well, you can see I've got a range drawn here on the price with the two red lines. You can see that we're below the 50 exponential moving average. You should also be able to identify that we've got a decreasing volume here happening throughout the time frame. And we also have a downwards trending RSI line to pay attention to as well. And now I think the thing that would make me really bullish about this chart again in the immediate term is going to be all three things corresponding, I believe. I think that a break of this resistance line on the price action is going to correspond with a resistance line break here on the RSI. And I wouldn't be surprised if we got the hat trick and we had as well. So that's definitely what I'm going to be looking for on Coty. Now again, you've got to think about what perspective that's coming from me looking at this as a day trade. From that perspective, but also, I have some fundamental long-term interest in this project as well. And for those particular holdings, that's not something I'm interested. I'm not so worried about this 5 or 10% downturn or whatever for that, because it's a long bag. I'm thinking for the future. So it depends which sort of position you're looking to enter and how much these 4-hour price action movements are going to affect you or change your emotional bias towards something. And remember, you always have to have your targets in mind when it comes to a project, a trade. How long are you looking to hold it for? Is it a quick trade, or is it a long-term hold? This really should change your perspective when doing your technical analysis and when having your own emotional bias towards the charts. So anyway, guys, I hope you've found some value in today's video. If you have done, it'd be great if you could pop a like on the video. That'd be brilliant. If you want a chance to win the CryptoTag Zeus starter kit, make sure that you are subscribed to Altcoin Buzz and leave a comment down below. That'd be great to see what you guys have got to say about the charts we've reviewed today. I'll be back over the weekend, and we will of course review the technical analysis on the weekend to see how some of this played out. I'm really hoping that the conversation that's going to be had is, wow, look at the right hand shoulder forming in this head and shoulders pattern. Are we about to see a big pump? But we will wait and see. Till then, guys, bye.